you and we gotta talk about Conquest. Conquest is, bar none, the most important game mode, I'd say. It's tied with GAC 100% for most important game mode, because this game mode right here is where all of the meta characters are coming out of currently. It looks like they have stopped making marquee characters that are going to be as strong as these, and they're going to be pushing all of our strongest characters through Conquest. And what really is pushing me to make this video, the real big concern that I have, is Proving Grounds. Because what Proving Grounds has, what it's proved, is that they are okay with locking us out of these characters for even longer to really incentivize us to push into Conquest. And I'll tell you right now, for me, it's gonna work. It's gonna work. Right? I wasn't under pressure to get Razor Crest. I'm still not under pressure to get Razor Crest because it's still farmable in the weekly shipments and the fleet shipments. They haven't taken it out. It doesn't sound like they plan on doing it. Fantastic for me. Plus, I already have it at 5 stars, so realistically, I do not need it to come to me quickly. However, on the flip side, the other meta-defining character that is hiding inside of the Proving Grounds right now, Commander Ahsoka Tano, I'm not going to get her for another 14 months. Another year and 2 months. I will not have her. So, because I've missed out on the first time she was in Conquest, and then after that, I am missing out on her because I'm not whaling, I guess, on the refreshes of Proving Grounds, I'm not going to be getting her for a whole extra year on top of that. Whereas if I'm just able to do hard mode and get to Red Crate, I'll obtain these characters. And that's the big push that now, it's more important now than ever, right? Especially with the characters that exist. You don't believe me? Let's talk about it real quick. Let's rant about it real quick, right? TIE Interceptor Prototype. You can see I'm farming the Empire. I have it favorited. I'm going to be spending crystals on it if I think I can get it before it rotates out of the weekly shipments and stuff like that. I just am. Because that ship changed the Empire. Made it such a viable fleet. It went from being like a C tier fleet to an A tier fleet. It can beat the Negotiator. It can beat the Separatist fleet. It can beat the new and improved First Order fleet. It can clean up the Executor, which is big. Speaking of the Executor, you want to talk about meta-defining ships? The Razor Crest. We already talked about this ship, but my need for it isn't exactly high. But when I push into Executor, if I don't have the Razor Crest at a decent level, the whole lineup just falls apart. It is such a keystone to the ship that without Razor Crest, the Executor would be just a terrible fleet comparatively to other Empire fleets. The other characters that have been released, let's go talk about those real quick. Sadly, Boba Fett, honorable mention. Big Dickus Suckus, okay? Unfortunate. But Commander Ahsoka Tano warped the entire Galactic Legends metagame. Her Galactic Legend in Kenobi is the only Galactic Legend that does not get one-shot. The only Galactic Legend that does not get one-shot by either another Galactic Legend team or by some weird off-meta stuff like Bounty Hunters, Jedi Knight Revan plus Jedi Knight Luke, General Grievous. None of those can touch Kenobi. They can touch other GLs pretty well, though. She makes it so that they are not allowed to one-shot Kenobi, making him sometimes eat 2 teams, sometimes eat 5, if you've been watching other people who are in that kind of play space. And having her in your account, even if you don't have a Galactic Legend that she mixes with, she still has the Galactic Republican Scoundrel tag. She still works with Beskar Armor Mandalorian and Padme Amidala as a humongous boon to either of those lineups. So it's not like she doesn't have a home if you don't have a Galactic Legend. She still makes everything she touches better. Maul, okay, and I know he's way underwhelming comparatively to Cat, which is like kind of the big thing we're thinking about right now is Cat. But he has his own place in the game, right? Making Lord Vader not so one-shottable on defense, kind of what Maul's doing, but we've worked around it a little bit. But if you're using your Vader offensively, as I think you should, Maul gives you an entire extra team that is really good out of characters that just didn't have a home previous. The Mandalorian faction, really, none of them were prepped and ready to be anywhere with each other. The only Mandalorian we'd been using previous was the armor with Sith Eternal Emperor. But now we use Bo-Katan, we use Canderous Ordo, we use all these characters that were just kind of sitting in our roster, forced to farm for a Galactic Legend or for one of the Revan events, and now they have a home inside of Maul, and that is huge, because it's not just some C-tier team. No, he is up there, able to take on some really, really fantastic teams, and holding some hard defenses, albeit two-shottable is quite easy, because once the team falls apart, it really does fall apart. But the initial fight is messy and dirty and eats up those banners, and sometimes causes them to fight twice. And that is another huge thing that's coming out of Conquest, right? The latest character we have spoiled, we're gonna kind of wrap this up here, right? Darth Malgus, right? Not only is the Sith Empire already an amazing faction, Darth Revan being one of your top core teams, but Darth Malgus being just a strictly better unit to have as a part of the lineup, or as the leader, holding Revan, Malak, Bastila Shan, and then whichever Sith Empire extra you want. He might even make Sith Assassin viable. I don't know. That's for the future us to find out. But holy God, does he ever look like something that's going to warp the meta, be a defensive monster. They say he's going to be able to take on some Galactic Legends. If this is the guy that crushes Kenobi, I wouldn't be surprised. All this being said, right, all this ranting, this energy that I've come out with, right, because Proving Grounds has shown us that they are willing to hold characters away from us for years, is really going to, they've succeeded, I guess. They've succeeded. I am going to be pushing more into Conquest. Not that I'm going to be buying the Conquest Pass. No. We're just going to be sharpening our roster to make sure that the teams I'm using in Conquest are as good as they can be, and that the teams that I should be using in Conquest are available in my roster, right? Making sure I have Gas 501st finished, making sure that I have Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker available, whether he's going to be in a Revan lineup or in a Jedi lineup of his own. Making sure that all my CLS boys are at the relics I want them to be. Pushing the Empire with Palpatine, Mara Jade to a point where they will be able to just flat out destroy whatever team is in front of them. You know, making sure that everything I use is going to be able to push as much as I can. If I could make it so that I do 2 or 3 refreshes a day in Conquest, that is when my roster is at its peak for Conquest, not for other game modes. And that's my goal. That's what I'm thinking about right now. I'm going to finish this Jedi Master Luke farm, and we're going to be making sure that everything I have for Conquest is up and running. I'm going to make sure I have these really big, pivotal teams that help me farm through these battles ready. Because, man, it's more important than every other game mode. It's more important than every other game mode to have Conquest characters. I'd argue that Relic 9 is less important than Commander Ahsoka Tano and Maul and the TIE Interceptor. All of these things are less important than Relic 9. And that is a crazy thing to say with all the stats, the ship speed and things like that Relic 9 gives. Take this little rant as you will, with a grain of salt, of course. Everybody's a little different in where their roster's at. But I think it's a pretty easy, universal, you should be at 4 million GP if you can be. It used to be we don't want to bloat, we want to bloat now. And you should be working towards that red crate through Conquest. If you are not able to get to the red crate, you need to be doing as much as you can to get as far as you can in Conquest. Because man, oh man, is it ever going to be... It's going to be really sad when your favorite character releases from there and you're not going to be able to touch it for 2 years. You're going to be able to see it in the game, but you're not going to be able to touch it for 2 whole years. And that's kind of where I'm sitting at right now. So, you guys have a good one. Let me know what you think. I'll talk to you later.